What's going on, everyone? Ivy here, coach of the Houston Tyrants, and here's my Week 1 battle post commentary against Shady Flame, coach of the New York Charizard. This battle was a little hard to prep against, but it was still good in the end. Sadly, the battle didn't go how I wanted to, or wasn't well recorded, planned out whenever we did it, because accidentally disconnected from the first battle we tried out, and then whenever we joined back, it wasn't fully fair. And we didn't we tried to start the battle, so we just continued on from where we left off. So here I'll be showing you two different battle scenes on the first part and the second part. Now, if you can remember what I bought from, or if you don't remember what I bought from my team, go see the episode of my team build for week 1. Now he decides to bring Mega Gyarados, Tyranitar, Zapdos, Alakazam, Infernape, and Decidueye. These Pokemon are real weird because I didn't expect the Decidueye to come. I probably would have expected something else like the Dodrio, or but still a good play in the end. Anyways, let's start off. Here I lead Cobalion while he leads the Tyranitar. Sorry if that burst your ears. Let's see if I can find the way. Sorry. Mid recording setup. I go for rocks while he goes for dig. There we go. Now I was questioning why he had dig on his Tyranitar, but if you know from last season, he's not like, how would you say, meta wise of a gameplay. He's like his own build setup person where he builds his own sets and doesn't take anyone else's. So it's real. I would say he's really inspiring if you're a new person to Showdown, but you'd be questioning his moves if you were a Showdown person like myself. I go for the rocks here as he goes for a dig. I was still questioning about that, as I said before, and I go for the Iron Head. I know I outspeed, so I knew I was gonna get the hit off. Now I go for the close combat here, and shows that he has a Choco Berry. And then now he goes for the Earthquake, but he forgets I still have the Air Balloon, which was still intact from the dig because he still didn't hit me. And it doesn't break through Sandstorm. And I just finish off with the Iron Head in him and take him down. He goes through Infernape, which I expected him to go into, and I swap out into Salamence, being in for Intimidate. Now, crazy enough, he goes for the Blaze Kick, and I expected more of an HP Ice play here, but it turns out to be good for him in the end because he ends up burning me, and I'm down to have my attack set. He goes into Zapdos, and I try to get a Dragon Dance up, but I'm still down on attack power. So I decided to go for it again, and he pulls off a Thunder and manages to land it, bringing me to 6% and the burn knocking me out. This is honestly a weird play, but it somehow works for him in the end. So that doesn't matter. I go into Carmelo the Cinchino and it breaks the Charlie Berry on the Zapdos and it ends up knocking out with the scaling. Now he has the Decidueye out here, and I go into Tangrowth expecting maybe a Braver since I know I'm bulky defensive wise and I will be able to take it. He ends up showing Confuse Ray, which is odd because you never see that. Well, Shady is a real weird step person, so I couldn't expect anything less. He goes for acrobatics, and he explains to me and questions me why he does that. Well, it turns out a berry. He has Cobra Berry, which it it softens the damage from dark type attacks. And then he goes for it again, so it does more damage. And I go for the hidden power fire, leaving me at 25%. And I go into Gardevoir, most likely the Moonblast here. Well, he ends up going for Synthesis, which is real weird. And he confused race the Gardevoir as well. He then goes to Gyarados. I try to Moonblast here, but I end up getting hit by Confusion. And this is where I leave, but I still manage to get the Moonblast off. But he goes for the Rain Dance, and I leave. And I accidentally disconnected, and as you can see here, they're all questioning now what happened. So anyways, moving on to the second part of the match. We ended up just taking out the Pokemon that had fainted, and they were debating on whether I should have Tangos or not, but I still had kept it on the match because they're still debatable during the time. But here's the second part. I lead off as Rosalina while he goes for Gyarados because this is what we ended off of. I go straight for the Moonblast because I knew it did almost half, and he goes for the Rain Dance. I was still questioning why he had Rain Dance, but this play is why I was questionable. He had Thunder Gyarados, which is something I would have never had thought of being. But since he had set up the Rain Dance, I go for my own Thunder, knowing that it would never miss, even though I have Compound Eyes. He then goes into Sage Wire while I just set up my Sticky Webs, since I know it's going to be helpful for me facing off against an Infernape. And then I go into Rapunzel, since I knew his only way of attacking me was either Acrobatics or the movie shows was Leaf Blade. He then goes for it out on turn 6, and then I go for the Hidden Power Fire, knowing that he had the Cobra Berry, and I knew he wouldn't be able to do much with Acrobatics. He confuses me again, but I was still able to break through. Now he goes into Infernape, but with that Sticky Web, he's only a third of its speed. But I decided to sack out Gabriella since I didn't have anything much use for her except for probably the Alakazam. But I had my ways of taking him down, like AV Tangrowth. So I go into Rosalina and just Psychic here since I knew he was going to be able to, he was going to switch into something. And now he goes into Alakazam. I was questioning what he was going to do here. And he ends up going for the Future Sight, which is something I would never have thought again. He just ends up Psychicking in these turns now. He end up having leftovers. And then he goes for Psycho Cut, which is extremely weird again. Because he could have gone for Psychic and probably would knock me out with Future Sight. But now he just has the Sage Wine now, and I go into Cobalion, and I knew that even with Synthesis, I'd be able to two-shot it with Iron Head. And I get the flinch with the first Iron Head, so that's basically the whole game. I'm sorry that this game wasn't as normal as the one would be, but it was still a good match in the end. I ended up getting a 3-0, sadly because after the match we debated on whether Tango should have taken a feint or not, which I mean, should I have gone 3-0 instead of 4-0 on the ending of the match? So we ended up saying that Tangos had died to the future sight because from the first match it was down somehow to yellow health, even though I had Regenerator. But anyways, guys, I hope you have enjoyed, and we'll see you all in week 2 for both the team builder and the battle. Thank you and goodbye.